losing my son was the worst time of my life. And since then, it has never been the same. I have a broken heart. It will never be the same. And I want to keep his memory alive. I want to share his story. And I want to hopefully impact as many people as I can. But if I save one person, that's one less Cody who dies. He was, from my pregnancy, I didn't have rough pregnancies, but he was active. He had his feet crossed up under my ribs, caused me to go into preterm labor. All the things. Took 3 days to have him. Like, he just was coming on his time. Nobody was going to tell him otherwise. But when they laid that baby on my chest, I knew to my core, my deepest core of my soul, that I had the most unconditional love for something I had never had. Never. You love your spouse, you love your family, but your child that's part of you, that you carried for 9 months, and you meet them and you see them take their first breath. That was the most amazing thing. Raising him, he was colicky. He didn't sleep through the night till he was 1.5 years old. I had many sleepless nights. He had all the things, all the allergies. They were testing for, not allergies, but sensitivities to formulas. And even my mom, like 3-4 days into it, when I was home from the hospital, she's like, "Are you sure you don't want to breastfeed? It could help." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And hindsight, maybe, I don't know. But he was just the sweetest snuggling baby. And then he grew and he was active and he was just great. We loved him so, so much. And he was a great toddler, all the things. And then when we had his baby brother almost 3 years later. And it was like, he just was like, loved his baby brother. So he loved Tyler so, so much. As the years went on, his dad and I divorced. And they, I think, were like 5 and 8, if I do the math right. I think about 5 and 8. And they decided they wanted to stay in Wisconsin and not move to Mississippi with me because of their friends. And so hard as a mom to say, "No, you're not coming with me. I need you." But I also had to look at it. Do I want to ruin their life, uproot them from their whole entire family because of me going, which, is that selfish, or is that being a mother saying, "You have to go with me"? So I didn't. I let them stay. Every summer they flew down by me. Every other holiday we got them, all the things. So I went up there. We saw them as much as possible. And there was like a downshift. And I started to be like, what's going on? And so my ex-brother-in-law had committed suicide. And their dad called me and said, "I can't handle these two, the bickering. I'm sending Tyler to you. Like, he's going to live with you." Well, later, obviously, I never said anything. I'm like, "Okay, great, thank you. Send him here, whatever." But it ended up being, and I didn't know this till many years into Cody's life, but that was a very, very hard time for Cody. His brother, they were split up. He started hanging out with some kids who his dad thought were okay, but he started weed. And so he was smoking marijuana, and his dad caught him a couple times. He was in trouble. He put a little tracker on his car to know where he was going, all the things. And so his dad was a deputy and a canine officer, canine deputy. So he had a dog with them even. It doesn't matter. And Cody's years growing up, I was there for a good bit. Like, he tried soccer. The first time he was playing soccer, I'm like, "I don't know if this is your sport." He was picking dandelions in the field. I'm like, I don't care if I'm a soccer mom. I don't need to be a soccer mom. It seems like a lot of work. I don't want to be a soccer mom. But he loved Little League, absolutely loved Little League. So he was on, like, skipped right past T-ball. He was already too good for that. So he played baseball, Little League, and he played it all the way up, never through a high school sport, but just played it, played basketball on the team or whatever. But his biggest thing was baseball. As he grew up, he seemed to be, I mean, his grades were okay. From what I knew, his grades were okay. I would check on the system, the school system. His grades were okay. But I could see, like, when he would come to visit me, a little decline. Like, what is going on? Well, I just, like, his dad had sold the house that him and I lived in with our kids and moved in with his girlfriend at the time. And then they ended up getting married because she didn't handle change. So they moved into her house. What his dad didn't know till after he passed away, and I told him, it hurt him very, very much. It hurt both the boys very much because that was their home. And they are kids, and they didn't handle change. They wanted to stay in the house they grew up in. He was with us one time, and I think it was summer, and he was with us, and he came in the house late, and we were there, me and my husband were there. And David says to him, "What are you on? What did you take?" He goes, "Nothing," as he's, like, hitting into walls. And he goes, "No, do not lie to me. You sit on that couch and you will tell me what you took." Well, I have many illnesses myself. I've gone through a lot, which also affected the boys because they had to see me very, very sick dying. And then I just have disabilities, but it's okay. And they had to see that. And that was very, very traumatic on them to see their mom, and they overheard she may have cancer. They think I'm going to die. And they were little. And so that part of it or whatever, so I was on a lot of medications. He looked up how to get high and how much do I need to take to get high. So he stole my medications. That was not okay. The 2 meds that he used of mine, you can't stop cold turkey. You can have seizures. How am I going to get more? You don't understand. From that point on, we had to lock them up, take them with us in the trunk of our car wherever we went, and lock our bedroom door. Nothing was left behind anymore whenever he was there because we just didn't know. We couldn't trust him. My husband stayed up with him because he could have died. And he said, "You will not go to sleep. You are going to talk to me all night. I don't care what you do. We're going tomorrow morning. I found a place. We're going to go and see this therapist, and we're going to get to the bottom of this because you need help." And he agreed to go. So we went, and I sat in that room, and I couldn't believe all the drugs he was telling us that he had been doing up in Wisconsin. And I was so sad, and I was hurt, and I was, like, sinking in my chair. How could this happen? You're my little boy. You're still my little boy in my eyes. You're my baby boy. How could you do this? Why are you doing this? And she flat out told him, "Cody, you have to agree. You have to stop everything. I will stop everything, but I'm still going to smoke marijuana." She said, "No, you have to stop everything. Do you feel like it's a gateway drug?" And he said, "No." Later, he admitted yes, because he needed more. And then he needed more from that. And then he needed more from that. He never asked to die. Honestly, it always seemed to be a girl. He would pick a girl who he felt he could save, he could fix. Maybe it wasn't drugs, but it might have been something else, mental health-wise. I can fix them. So his first rehab, I had to detox him at home by myself at my brother's. Worst experience of my life. Like experience, not time, but experience. Epsom salt baths. He was cold. He'd turn the fireplace on at my brother's. He'd open windows. He's hot. He's thrashing around on the floor. I'm like, what am I even doing? What are you doing? What is the matter? Why are you doing this to me? And I was the bad guy. But I wasn't the bad guy. I just wanted my son to survive. He was going down a bad place. And I just couldn't see that happen. How can you lose your child? I can't lose my son. And I sat him down when he was enough out of his, into his brain that he could sit. I said, here's the computer. Get on it. We are going to get on it together. You pick a rehab. I don't care what you pick. You pick a rehab that you are going to go to, and I'm going to send you there. He picked a rehab out in California, Narcan Fresh Start, and it was in Temecula, California, not near anything. Took him out, flew him out there. They told me we got him. We picked him up. We took him, all the things. He was complaining, Mom, they're poisoning me. Please let me come home. They're making me do these saunas. They're making me take this, this medicine, this something to get it out, niacin or something. Anyway, high doses. I read this. This is illegal. They're trying to kill me. They're like Christian scientists here. They're crazy. I need to get out of here. Get me out of here. And I says, no, son, you're not coming home. You need to stay. This was a $36,000 rehab. You're going to stay. I paid what I could. I went out there to visit him at his halfway point, went to visit him. And he said, thank you for making me stay. He got a weekend pass. I was with him. He did not do any drugs. I was so proud of him. Took him to the San Diego Zoo, all the things. Get him back there. And he did great. He finished off great. So I flew out maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, flew out for his graduation. His letter just made me cry. He thanked me. He said all these great things to me and said I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom. I love her so much. I don't want to hurt her. I cried. I sobbed at his graduation because he made me know just how much he appreciated me, even after the hard times. I needed that for validation, that I'm your mom. I'm not your best friend, but we kind of were really super close, like best friends. But he was my son, and I had to treat him as such. And today, too many parents are, oh, no, I don't want to hurt their feelings and all the things. You can't do that. And so he came home and he was clean for a little bit. And then he told me his girlfriend told him that she liked him better high. So he relapsed. I was so hurt. I didn't feel like I wasted anything. My son got clean. I knew he could do it again. And I said, you have to stop doing this. You are going to kill yourself. Please just listen, stop doing this. And he said, Mom, you don't understand. You don't understand. Have you read the book, The Broken Brain Syndrome? And I'm like, no. He's like, read it. It talks about, there's something. And I said, I know what's happening. You have anxiety. You have depression. You're trying to fix your feelings while trying to fix other people. That doesn't work. He wore his heart on his sleeve, just like I did my whole life, to get it ripped off. And I'm like, I love that you're like me and you have these qualities. They're great qualities, but then they're not. When you get your heart broken over and over, it's bad, it's hard, and it sucks. But we have to get through this. I will help you. What can we do next? Where are we going to go? What are you going to do? So they broke up, and then I think he moved to Mississippi with us for a while. I mean, we were through a lot of things, him and I. So close. So one day he wanted to go buy a car on the side of the road, not in a great part of Jackson. I didn't know this. My husband was off training, and he says, get out of there. It's not good. Get out of there. My son talks me into staying. And I said, well, David said we should get out of here. He goes, Mom, I'm just going to buy the car. We're going to go. He says, that area isn't good. Get out. So I trusted my instincts with Cody, and I get shot. As a drive-by shooting from a gang. It wasn't horrible, but I still got shot. And so we went through that together, and he's like, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I go, you call David, you call your stepdad. You tell him what just happened, because he warned us and we didn't leave. Now you call him. He's not going to be happy. He goes, he's going to be so mad. Yeah, he's going to be mad, but you're going to do it because I'm not. I got to go to the hospital and you're going to follow. So he did that, and he saw this, and he's like, Mom, I hurt you. I put you in danger. I'm like, you did. But we can't do these things anymore. You have to have a straight frame of mind. And then I found out he was still doing drugs, like mostly marijuana, but then other things that was happening that I didn't even know about. And they would sneak out, cut the screen in the bedroom. Him and his brother would sneak out of the house. And I'm like, wow, I found this out when they told me. I didn't even know it. I'm like, come on, you guys. So then he was he lived with us. Then he was back in Wisconsin. He goes, Mom, I want to come down. Now we were in Birmingham or Hoover area. And he says, Mom, I want to come back down. I need help. I said, okay, do you want the help? You know you need it. Do you want the help? He said, I want the help. Can I please come and stay with you? We can find a place for me to go. Yes, you can. I will get you your ticket. But you need to go to Bradford to detox. I cannot do it again. All the way from the airport to Bradford. Mom, please, just let me go to the apartment. Let's just go to the apartment. I'm okay. I'm okay. I said, you're not, and I will not back down on this. You're going to Bradford. So he was in Bradford a month and detoxed and all the things. And he came back to the apartment and he met a girl. And I had no clue she was doing drugs. No clue. I wouldn't have guessed it. He also had joined the Army. And he was clean. He had joined the Army. He loved the Army. He excelled. He was an exemplary soldier. His command staff was just like, he's amazing. He does his job. Now, what happens a lot in the military is they start to drink. They don't have anything else to do. They do their job. They do their PT in the morning. They do their job. They come home, nothing to do in the barracks. He was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So all his buddies, they would drink a lot. But he, still no matter what, was responsible enough to go and set all of their alarms on their phones so nobody missed PT. And everybody showed up for PT. He'd get them back to their rooms. Their alarms are set. He'd go to bed, get up. They'd go to PT. And I'm like, wow, but you can't drink like that. So he came home on Memorial Day weekend. He had already gone through boot camp. We were so proud of him. He wanted to follow in his stepdad's steps because my husband did 23 and a half years as a military police officer. He wanted to go in his steps, different career, but his steps. So we did boot camp. We were so proud of him. Then we did his AIT school, his job. He was going to be work out with the cannons, like, okay, you want to blow stuff up? I don't know. And so then he passed that, and we all were there. His dad came down, and his brother and his grandpa, and then his grandma and grandpa, and I think my dad came, anyways, to his AIT and my mom. And then he went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So when he came home, he was drinking, and he came home on Veterans Day weekend because they had a long weekend. He knew. They're all getting popped on Monday when you go back, or Tuesday. You're all getting your drug test. It was told to them. We are trusting you to go home. I wish he never came home that weekend. I wish he never came home. He spiraled. She got him drugs. I mean, if she thinks she's smart, no. Everything's on, there's cameras everywhere. So they saw him in the mall. They saw him on camera. They saw her. I mean, so he used. It was a nightmare. And this girlfriend waited until my husband and I got to Tuscaloosa for our first Alabama game. We were there. She calls. I can't wake up Cody. In the night, we were there in the morning. She could have told us. And she opted not to because she was high too. So why would she want me to find out? So she said, I rolled him on his side. He was making gurgling noises. He wasn't breathing right. And now I can't wake him up. I said, and I'm just like going crazy. Did you hit him in the face? Did you pick him up, drop him, do all the things, pour water over him? I don't care. Wake my son up. Get my son up. And I'm like, is he still breathing? And my husband is saying, he needs Narcan. Call 911. He overdosed. I know this. Call them. So our daughter was there at the time. She called 911. 911 comes. They Narcan him twice. They get him to the ER. He's so unstable. And the ER is like, you better come. we don't know what's happening. We don't know if he's going to make it. He probably isn't going to make it. I was just like, I can't lose my child. I can't lose my child. We got to get there. We got to get to. So we went to UAB in Birmingham. We get there. Nurses transport to the floor. 2 doctors transported him to ICU because he was not stable enough for nurses to take him. They get him up there. He's on a ventilator. They have him sedated. They have him tied down to the bed. I never left his side. I had to call his dad. First time I had to call his dad. We might not have Cody for very long. He had to drive from Wisconsin down to Alabama by himself. He did it. And he has to tell me when you're getting close, I have to warn you, this is the worst sight you're going to see. It's horrible. It's horrible. Our son is on a ventilator and may not live. I have not left his side. So he said, I'm pulling in, I'm coming up. I said, okay. I met him at the door, the sliding glass doors for the ICU. I met him at the door. He just fell into my arms, almost to the floor, sobbing. Our son, we're going to lose our son. I said, we could possibly. I didn't know what to do. I never left his side. The girlfriend didn't want to leave his side. And he says to her, get out. You are not his parent. Get out. We need to have a serious talk here. Get out. Well, no, get out. Well, she left. And then my husband had been there several times to visit. He went to work, come up after work. I didn't leave the hospital. I stayed. We lived 15 minutes from the hospital, but I was not leaving. Because if they say he's coded, like, I got to be there. So I was in the room with him the whole time, and we talked about it, me and my ex-husband, his dad, and he stayed there. He would sleep in the parking garage in his truck overnight, and then he would come back in. And he says, just go take a shower. I'll be right here. I said, okay, I promise. I'll be right back. He's like, you should just go home. You need a break. I said, I'm not leaving my son. I can't. He was ungodly strong. His eyes were bugging out. He wakes up. He's freaking out. He's on a ventilator. He doesn't know what's happening to him because he doesn't know how he got there. And why are we there? And so the DEA came up and they told his girlfriend at the time, you need to come down for an interrogation. She was freaking out. Oh, probably for good measure. She got him in contact with some people. It all fell back on her. So she was living with us. So we had went to Mexico. They're like, you can go. He's home. The military came when he finally got out in a regular room. He was there for over a week. Got in a regular room. And I don't know why, but I went out in the hallway to call his dad and say, okay, well, he's in a regular room. Things are going okay. The military's coming to pick him up. Like, that's just how it is. They already came down. And like, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. So, but you're our property, so we're coming to get you. So they took him back up to Fort Campbell. And then I found out later, while I was there, I left my purse in the room. His girlfriend went in my purse and sold some of my pills while they're in the hospital. Mind blown. I don't get it. I feel like, okay, my son's on his way to recovery. He's going back to the base. He's going to go back to what he loves to do. And everything's going to be great, until it wasn't. They put him in rehab right outside the gate. His first sergeant was so good. He would go visit him, have talks with him, all the things. Well, somebody snuck something in and gave it to him in rehab. He gets kicked out. So back on base, they're deciding, what are we going to do? He's doing good, doing his job good. He's clean. He's good. Well, then they had to put him back in. So a second time. He did get an honorable discharge with the stipulation you can't re-enlist. But honorable discharge because of an exemplary soldier he was. And it broke his heart to get discharged. But he was discharged honorably, but with failure to stay clean. So after he gets discharged, he went to another rehab. Finally, he agreed to go to the Foundry in Bessemer, Alabama, which was Christian-based. And I would go to church with him on Sundays. I'd meet him there. And I would sit with him, and he accepted Jesus. when I was there. So I felt, this is good. This is great. He started reading the Bible. I thought, you're going to be, this is the one. This is the one that's going to stick, right? It's going to stick this time for sure. And then he left before the year and went to a sober living house. I'm sorry, and I will always have this feeling there's no such thing as sober living. None. They send them off to these little places. They're run down, bad places. They're living on mattresses. It's not good. I would take my son things there, and he's like, yeah. And they help you get jobs or whatever. All the jobs, all the people he was working with were getting high at work. So that was not a good experience. I said, you should have never left because you were clean. You were good. So he went to live with his brother in Missouri by my parents in Branson. And he had another girlfriend. Another one. Thought he could fix. Sure. And she's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, he's doing drugs. And I'm just like, he needs to get a job. He needs to do something more constructive with his life. And I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with her. I really don't know. But regardless, there was another girl. And I'm just like, come on. Why? Can you just fix yourself? Worry about yourself. Fix yourself. You don't have to have a girlfriend. I mean, he was such a handsome kid. Like, everybody loved him. So he moves up to Wisconsin. We all have now gone to Wisconsin. He moves up there. He's living with this same girlfriend that he was with in Branson. And it wasn't working out. So she was, I don't know, she moved. She started blaming him for things that weren't his fault. And then his cousin got involved and she regrets believing the lies from the friend because she moves in and they kicked Cody out. He had no place to go. My husband said, you can live here, but you have to be clean. I will drug test you at any time I want to, but you have to be clean. He says, I promise I will not disappoint you guys. I will stay clean. He was clean for 5.5 months. My son was 24 years old, clean for 5.5 months. He is back with the girl that he started with because that was just going to be the love of his life. I said, this doesn't seem too normal to me because she lives with a guy. And now she moves in here for a little bit, but she's still talking. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but if it makes sense to you, I'll support you. Okay. Then it was COVID, 2020. And they broke up but they were still talking, but they broke up. They weren't going to date. And he relapsed. He was always home on time. I gave him a curfew. He's 24. He had a curfew because it was for his own good. If he was going to stay someplace, he would ask me, can I stay? Met this girl, whatever, online, but it was just like a fling, like a Tinder hookup, right? So he did that, stayed, whatever, and came home the next day. It was fine. No drugs. Well, when he came home that day, on that Saturday, it would have been May 9th of 2020. He came home in the evening before curfew, and we talked. Everybody was in bed. His stepsister was upstairs sleeping. My husband was already up in bed. I waited up for him. He was home, and we talked. I said, well, let's go down in the basement because I don't want to wake anybody upstairs. We went in the basement. An hour-and-a-half conversation. We talked. We went to bed. We were fine. But God, 3:30 a.m., May 10th, he woke me up. Hot. I'm never hot. I'm always cold. Always cold. Woke up to turn the ceiling fan on. I go to turn the ceiling fan on. I see his light on across the hall. I quietly go over there and I open the door. I'm like, Cody, what's going on? I just have anxiety. I don't know. I said, let me turn the light off. Do you want to read your Bible? Because it was right by his bed. Do you want to read your Bible? He goes, no. I said, try some deep breathing. I'm turning your lights off. I'm turning your TV off. Done. He said, okay. I said, I love you so much, son. Gave him a hug. And I said, if you need me, I'm across the hall. You know, my door isn't even locked. Just come in. I fell back to sleep at some point, 7:08 a.m. I just sat up in bed, go check on Cody. Something said, God, go check on Cody. I went. His door was locked. I didn't even know that door locked. Didn't even know. I get the little thing from above the door. I get in there, and I find him right there, slumped over, He had already soiled himself. He was clammy. I knew he was gone. I held him. I'm screaming for my husband to come up there. He's trying to come up the stairs. In the meantime, Tyler calls me, his younger brother. He worked at the jail in Racine, the Racine County Jail, and he called me, Mom, I'm so tired. He's a third shifter. I'm so tired. And it's an hour drive to my house. I'm just going to take a nap and then I'll be out. I promise. I said, no, Tyler, please just come. Come now. Who wants to tell their kid that their brother just died over the phone? And he has an hour to drive. I can't do this. I cannot physically do this. And I said, you have to come. Please come now. And he said, it's Cody, isn't it? He knew. I said, yes, just come. Just come. And he came. I had to call his dad. I waited till after the paramedics and everything. And they made me administer Narcan to him. We knew he was gone, but we still did the CPR. We did the Narcan. So I knew he was gone, but it didn't. And then they came in, paramedics, everybody came in, and they were shocked, hooked up the things, says no shock. So he was gone. I knew this in my heart. I already knew this. I had already hugged my son. I loved him. I didn't care. I'm hugging my son. He's gone. I don't care. He's my part of me. He's my life. I went downstairs. They made me go downstairs. Went downstairs, and the detective is standing there by me, and he's talking to me. He's just like, maybe they're... And then another detective comes down, and he says, we are so sorry. We did everything we could. I fell to the floor. Sobbing. I lost it. It was that final, I knew, but for those words, those final words to come out of somebody's mouth to tell you your son is gone, I couldn't. I just couldn't. My husband helped me. He called our pastor. It was Mother's Day, but yet it was COVID, so we couldn't go to church. So it was all online, so it was already pre-recorded, thankfully. And he came, and he spent the entire day at our house. People, his grandpa came. I had to call his dad, and he's out of town. Doesn't answer the phone. The third time I call him, he's like, okay, this must be something serious. He answers the phone, and I said, I'm so sorry. And he said, it's Cody. I said, yeah, he's gone. Cody is gone. And he said, okay. And I said, do you want to come and see him? And he said, I can't. I won't make it in time. Well, Cody ended up being there the whole day, so he could have made it in time. So he went out in the woods and just walked and did his thing, because to him, he needs to be alone to process. He doesn't get together for our group things usually. And that was really hard to have to do, because now we never even saw his son gone. And we're going to cremate him. So we did have him laid out. So the most of that day was kind of a blur, who came, who brought what, who, whatever. But the worst part is my home became a crime scene. There was a deputy at the front door who stood there. There's one way into the neighborhood, and it tees, and we're right on the corner. So there's 3 different paramedics, a big unit, and then 2 smaller ambulances. Sheriff's parked all the way up the street. Neighbors are coming out looking. And I remember, and they don't think I was mean, but I did. But I yelled, I stood at the front step because I just needed to step out of the house for a minute. I'm standing there, and they were walking, and they were kind of looking at the house. I said, my son is gone, okay? He's gone. This is what's happened. And they're like, we're so sorry. And they didn't know what to say. And then everybody started bringing food over that time or whatever. But then it was time to do something, to write an obituary, to plan the funeral, to do all these things. A mother shouldn't have to do that, ever. A mother should not. Parents shouldn't have to bury their child or cremate their child. It's not the order of life. I had already lost a sister. I lost my mother. And now I'm losing my son, which was the worst loss that anybody could even imagine. The girlfriend he was with had gone into his phone. So he changed the password and he double protected it, facial and password. So while he was laying there in his room, the detectives did the facial recognition to get in. And we tried the passwords we thought. I didn't know he changed his password. So there's such thing called a gray key or a gray box. The Walworth County Sheriff's Office didn't have one. They had to find somebody with one to take it because they were on the final attempt and it would lock the phone for good. And they needed to get in. Apple doesn't honor subpoenas. They did subpoena Facebook and they got all his Facebook records. Snapchat, it goes away. So that's why these kids use Snapchat, because that helps. That's why they're buying drugs off of Snapchat, all the things, because it's not traceable. So sad. That should not be okay. It should not be okay. They finally got into his phone. They tried, and they kept saying, well, it's pinning, and these guys carry burner phones, and we can't peg anybody. Now, they knew his cousin sold him the Atizlam because there was some message in there about it, and they also knew, like, some things, but they didn't have enough to charge him, and I don't understand that, because it's on his death certificate. I have Atizlam, like, is on there. Fentanyl is on there. Like, I don't understand. When I talk to the medical examiner, they're like, yeah, these are the things. And I'm like, why can't he be charged? And I asked the detective, why can't he be charged? Like, I want him charged. Not that, I mean, it's a little bit of justice, right? You never have justice. What kind of justice is losing your child? So the investigation was closed. There will be no justice at all until he's one day locked up again. I mean, it's an in and out for him, the cousin, and we really feel like it was him. And I don't know. Every day I've suffered physically from grief. It's real. I've been hospitalized twice from it. I lost 43 pounds. They thought I had cancer for sure. And they said it's grief. I didn't know all these things can happen to your body. So now I have not only my own issues, now I have grief. I see a therapist. I have, all I can do is look at an urn and picture and memories of my son, but nothing more. Absolutely nothing more. I'm so blessed to have the other children I have, and that's what I have to go on for. I have 3 bonus daughters that are my daughters, and my son. My son and I have become so close. After Cody, he would come over every single day he was off, or after work, or his off days. He would come over all the time, and it was just, we're really close. And I don't know what I'd do without any of them. And my 4 grandbabies, like, that's my reason. But now we've started a nonprofit, 501c3, Not One More, Forever 24 Incorporated. And I think Cody would be proud of me. I hope he's proud of me for keeping this memory alive. I hope he's proud of me for telling his story. The real, the raw, the ugly. But he wasn't an addict. He was a human being who suffered mental health things that he was trying to fix himself. And it wasn't the right way, no. But he had been clean, and he was sold something that he did not set out to die. He did not want to die. And I am so angry about that at these dealers. And if I could save one person out of doing this, one person, if it's really touches just even one person and they stop, don't do this to your family. You are worth it. You have a future. You may be in the hills and the valleys, the ups and the downs, but you have to not turn to drugs. Every single drug now is being laced with fentanyl in some way, some shape, some form. Stay away from it. Don't hurt your family. There is hope. You are worth it. And you need to keep going. Because if I impact one person, that's one less Cody who dies.